Oh, so apparently StreamYards is now live and mobile for Apple iOS. Yes, folks, if you happen to be like me, a person that happens to have an Apple iOS device, I think this is the iPhone, whatever, 6, 8, something like that. A whole bunch of numbers. Not overly fancy, but I digress. The big thing was, a lot of us like to stream. And I was just having a conversation with somebody that I'm like, I'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers. Why? Because then I could do things mobilely on the YouTubes as well, directly through the app. You need to have at least 1,000 subscribers for that. I'm not yet there. Oh, hey Wookie, how we doing, my man? But yeah, now I guess with StreamYard they just built in that mobile functionality as well. So now one can host and not just be there. So yes, the stream is mobile, even though where I'm sitting where I normally would be. And yes, we're not in the full layout and everything since it's working with just more of a base plugin. But you know what? This works for me because we could actually have people on. We could actually have discussions. And until my laptop gets fixed after having killed it a second time for watching far too much pornography, yeah, we could actually have interesting discussions and stuff like that. But this is just a real quick test to let folks know that basically I just got an email. Actually, I was listening to my friend Ludo's stream. We had actually done a stream about basically SARS-CoV-2, which leads to COVID-19, a couple of months ago, before we had like the whole lockdown over here in the States and everything. Because she happened to be in Hong Kong, and she said things were basically like people were taking it very seriously. She happened to know some folks that happened to get sick. And yeah, she's like, well, people just kind of masked up, wear gloves, lots of layers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, is it still a big problem over there? She's like, no, not really. People still wear masks and stuff, but that's something they normally do. But yes, yes, StreamYards is here. We are now mobile. We can move around. We can utilize our devices and everything, and get stuff and things done. Oh, I'm realizing now the angle I have this and everything. It was, oh, you were silenced by people. Who is the man Wookie? Who would silence a far fine furry friend like this? I mean, you were acting in good faith and everything. You weren't using a lot of hateful rhetoric or language or calling people names because I mean you're a very good natured, kind Wookie being and everything. And we wouldn't give people reasons to not be nice to us. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But well, apparently we are coming through. I guess. Yes, there are a lot more important things going on, and I actually have to get off here so I can do a back shaving and get my back shaved because we're primates, we're mammals. These are things that folks do. Hopefully, we don't have any ticks. But this is this is what we got. Oh. Now, were they aware that you were engaging in banter, or were you really angry? Because this is the issue we run into on the internet. It's like, oh, I was making a little joke. I'll give you a real quick example. Uh, I basically was going by my whole general narrative of, well, what's the difference between like Facebook and Twitter now? And folks are like, there really isn't much one. So all of a sudden I see a post on my little FBs over there, and something about Joe Rogan. And apparently I see that I'm just like, oh, I'm in the Twitter state of mind. I'm like, I like Joe. Which then led into a very interesting conversation. Which was like, okay, somebody's being there, and like, oh, okay, well, what's wrong with this? I got this to happen. And apparently I was unaware that there was Joe Rogan controversy going on that day, because, and you know what? What the person she said? She's like, oh, Joe Rogan's a dipshit. I'm like, that's not necessarily an unfair assessment. I was just listening to him and Jocko Willink, and they were just literally saying, it's fun watching people, like, try to kill each other or something like that. It's like, or battle each other to the death. I'm like, okay, I believe they were talking about it in metaphor form, but to be fair, I'm like, well, they're describing Schadenfreude right there. And I think that was a word brought to us by the Germans, so I'm just putting that out there. With all due respect to our German friends, We all have problems, especially in our past. But we can get better. We can get better about these things. And it eventually led into that one of my friends, basically from back in the day, I end up taking some of the things private. It's like, okay, why would I just yell and scream about this? I'm like, all right, let me actually have a conversation rather than having people's pride get into play. And I learned a lot. I talked to some folks, and there were some serious stories going back and forth. That, like, and this is something I took away from Sam Harris. It's like, why should we condemn somebody for just having a lack of information? If somebody's unaware that a situation happened, then it's like, oh, well, they don't know. But yeah, Twitter, man, that'll really get you. But oh, oh, well, this is what we run into, man. It's like, okay, I think it's okay to get pissed off. If you see someone that riles you up, these are just standard feelings. Now, what we do with them, it's up to us. Do we want to solve a problem? Do we want to try to destroy a problem? It's like, okay, you can have a comment. All right, a comment is one thing. Repeated comments are more things. If you're yelling and screaming at each other, and you do a video yelling and screaming, I mean, that's another thing. Like, I'm totally not good at this at all. But occasionally, like when I did like a hit piece on Sargon or something like that, I'm like, oh, this is just pissing me off. I put together complete ad hominem, this and that. It actually came together really well. And then there's some more information shit. I'm like, eh. But when I was doing that video, I literally gave him a heads up. It's like, all right, well, let's try to. If we're doing a piece on you, it's like, should at least try to contact you or something. Even Tim Pool, I feel a little bad because I was trying to point out something that maybe he got wrong. I mean, you can disagree with what people are doing and stuff. I'm just trying to point out a little bit of an error in some of his analysis, in my opinion. Because I'm like, what you're pointing out is literally, you kind of have to do that if you're trying to do the other thing. I don't hear people making these arguments. And this is what bothers me. This is one of the reasons I did the YouTube channel. I'm just like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, no, that's definitely a take. I mean, it might be an uncharitable take, but if somebody truly meant what they said, and this is the reason, why don't people explain it like that? I don't know. Maybe it's because I just don't understand these things. So I look back, I'm like, okay, so what happens here? These are the moving pieces. What's bringing it all together? I don't know. Sometimes to get something done, you just basically just need a skeleton and some base ligaments. And then you can, if you could utilize technology to be your like muscle and everything to helping leverage technology, it's like, okay, that makes sense, but you still need the right process because that's got to get done. It's like if you're a slime from Dragon Warrior, it might be a little hard for you to lift that box of corn pops. If you happen to be a bipedal creature like a lot of us, and if you happen to have a couple of arms and you're not basically super old or anything, and like you got some decent strength, it's like, I look at it like a game. I'm like, if we were to model the world in Dungeons and Dragons, would it make sense? And the sad thing is, I think it does. I don't know if that's a good thing. Is that a bad thing, or is this just a thing? Oh, let me read. I'm sorry. The glasses are a reflection. My eyes are going blind. Yeah, but all right. I gotta get to a primate like back shaving now. But yeah, StreamYard is mobile right now. Great to see you, Wookie. I don't think I missed anyone. Oh, yeah, I missed Jigs. Oh my god, yeah, I gotta scroll through. Oh, MC, my apologies. No, you gotta scroll through the chat and everything. Oh, hey, Nerdy and everything. So yeah, now I'm live on the mobile IS, so basically if you just go in, it's using your browser. I need to make sure I scroll down, because it has the chats right down here, because I didn't see anything for like the past couple of minutes, so I'm just continuing to bloviate. But I need to go shave a man's back and then shave my back. So thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody. And log on with the elbow bump. Bump and bump.